I've been waiting to get to you because I know you have something to say to the fellas, and we have something to say back. All the fellas, all races, creed, color, social statuses. We'll tackle issues like jobs, fatherhood, education, the justice system. Join me right here on WIAM. Curtis Taylor, I bring you something for the fellas. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's broadcast of Something for the Fellas with myself, yours truly, Curtis Taylor, as your host. I'm glad to be here. I'm thankful. We counted a blessing to be coming from before you guys this evening. What we're going to do today on today's broadcast of Something for the Fellas, we're going to have the first annual Something for the Fellas Iron Bowl edition. And the reason I came up with this format, because as we know in the state of Alabama, this is the week leading up to the Iron Bowl, which will be held on this Saturday on the plains of Jordan-Hare Stadium, Auburn, Alabama. And we know in this state, partially throughout the history of the Iron Bowl, the state has pretty much been divided because there's no professional NFL football teams or anything of that nature. So basically, if you're from the state of Alabama, you either root for Alabama or you root for Auburn. And what I'm going to do at this time, we're going to introduce my guest panelists. I have a few more that are on the way, but they haven't arrived as of now, but they'll be joining us here shortly as soon as they arrive. But I'm pleased to have Mr. Cedric Turk. How are you doing, Cedric?
I'm fine. How are you?
Glad to have you. Mr. Reggie Gibbs.
How you doing?
Glad to have you guys. And also Mr. Mac Hampton.
Pleasure.
Thanks for joining me. But what we're going to be doing is we're going to go over this topic, Iron Bowl. We'll be having certain questions I'm going to put forth through the panel, and we'll just try to make this an exciting broadcast. You know, we could normally I have maybe one or two guests, and we'll have a different topic that we'll bring forth every week. But again, as I said earlier, due to the fact that it's Iron Bowl week, and this is the biggest thing that's going on in the state of Alabama leading up to Saturday, and a lot of people might be asking, well, why Curtis is wearing this purple sweater? Easily. I'm from the state of Louisiana, and I'm going to represent LSU. But that's neither here nor there. I'm the host, and we're going to carry this show. We're going to keep moving forward. But basically, and these guys, my panelists, I'm sure you'll be able to correct me on certain facts as far as the history. I did a little bit of research before we started the show. It seems like, and I'm just going to go over, as of stands right now, Alabama's record is 11-0. Is that correct, Reggie?
That'll be correct.
Okay, Alabama's 11-0, and Auburn is
10-1.
10-1. Okay, and of course, Alabama's ranked number 1 in the nation, and Auburn is ranked number
4.
Okay, so guys, it's going to be leading up to a great battle. You got Alabama Crimson Tide, you got the Alabama Crimson Tide and the Auburn Tigers, or War Eagle, as some like to say. It's going to be a great battle this Saturday. We're looking for a great game. Like I say, we know that the state is totally divided. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start with Mr. Mac Hampton, if I could. Mac, first of all, introduce yourself to my audience, and then give us a little brief synopsis of what made you be an Auburn fan.
Well, I'm Mac Hampton. I'm originally from Hillsborough, Alabama, high school teacher and coach. And as far as Auburn is concerned, it started back in 1984. I had a cousin that went there when she graduated high school. So that's really all I saw. And then plus, I saw Bo Jackson, and with those two together, I've just been an Auburn fan. I've been an Auburn fan ever since.
Okay. Well, thanks for that. Reggie, if you would, that same question, I'd like to pose that to you.
Well, my name is Reginald Gibbs, and I've been an Alabama fan ever since been little. I didn't know there was another school that had a football team in the state of Alabama. So other than that, I mean, I can't help it but to pull for the great state and the great University of Alabama.
Okay. We definitely thank you for that. And Cedric, if you would, yourself, sir.
Well, I grew up in a town about 10 minutes away from Auburn, so I grew up down there throughout the Bo and Lionel James train. That's when I really started looking at Auburn football. Plus my dad, he used to work for the university, so he would take us out to the games and we would just have a great time. So from very little, long time ago, it was just, I love Auburn football.
Good deal. Well, we're going to continue to go forth and everything. If I could just read a little brief thing that, as far as these notes, and we're going to talk a little bit about, this Iron Bowl has once been considered one of the most fierce rivalries in the history of college football. But within the last years, and I'm sure my panelists would agree with me, due to the drop-off of Auburn, which we all know stats and records and things of that nature, and continued dominance of the last 5 years of Alabama as far as their championship titles and things of that nature. But with this season, Auburn's having a great season. You know, their record speaks for itself, and Alabama's still ranked number one. I believe this year, within the last, and y'all correct me, guys, if I'm wrong, within the last 5 years, this is the most anticipated Iron Bowl as far as the record goes and everything. And if Reggie would like to speak on that, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's incredible. I mean, it is making a state loving football all over again between the two schools, the two universities. It's been a while. You know, we both schools have had their ups and their downs. Now it's time to come back. It's the one of the few times out of the whole year that households are divided. And after the game is over with, everybody kiss and make up and back family and friends again.
Okay.
One more year at least.
Mac, if you would like to continue to expound on that?
Well, when it comes to football in the state of Alabama, of course, you know, just be honest, Auburn, of course, it doesn't have the national championships that Alabama does, but it does have its rich heritage in football. You know, we got the 3 Heisman Trophy winners. We've had, you know, couple undefeated seasons where we didn't get to cash in on national championships for various reasons because of probations, and then in 2004 we went undefeated and we got shysted in the BCS. So when you put the two together, I mean, it's nothing but magic. 10-1, 11-0. The last 3 national championships have came from the state of Alabama. So you put these two on a field together in the same state. I mean, it's nothing but excitement. Can't be anything but excitement.
Right. And we definitely know that the excitement is in the air. I mean, I saw on the news a couple of nights ago where they actually went to the plains outside of the stadium at Jordan-Hare, and it was like 312 RVs. That was the last count. And this was like 3 days ago. And these people have already taken off from their jobs, brought their families, packed them up, found their spots, and they were like, the people that they were expecting to come and show up, they was like, if you don't make it here quick, you're not going to get a spot.
They actually started a little bit earlier this year because Auburn was open last week. So they just went on and took advantage of it and said, hey, we're going to go ahead and cash in. And I saw a picture on the news of just lines and, you know, just a line of RVs just coming, trying to get to the RV parking lot. And it was almost like it was game day, the morning of game day, you know, a week and a half, 2 weeks before the game. But that's just the intensity of the rivalry. No disrespect to Alabama, no disrespect to Auburn. It's just, it is what it is when it comes to the Alabama-Auburn game. People all over the world are about to reschedule their lives Saturday to watch this football game. You know, it's big.
Right. I definitely agree. Because like I was saying earlier, I mean, just the excitement and the buzz is like, I did a little bit of research as far as the stores that sell the Auburn and Alabama gear or paraphernalia, if you would, say like for Academy, their sales have increased $150,000 to $250,000 just this week leading up to the game. It's like if you go to Academy or Hibbett's or wherever, it's hard to find some Alabama gear or some Auburn gear, whatever the case may be. And just me, myself, of course, I'm from the state of Louisiana, but just give a brief story of how I realized how serious this rival is. I was living in Dothan, Alabama at the time. And going along with a friend of mine, he was doing this little door-to-door sales job. He was selling household alarm systems. So, you know, me not being from the area, and I was basically riding with him, just checking out everything. And what happened was we came to this one individual's home. And you know how you come inside somebody's home, you're like, wow, this is a nice home and everything. And on their fireplace, they had a mantle, they had an Auburn jersey. They had a Auburn, the orange, blue and orange pom-poms. They had a piece of an Auburn foam finger. And there was an Auburn hat that looked like it had been mangled and everything. So, you know, me not being from the state of Alabama and not knowing how fierce that this rivalry is, you know, I asked the question, you know, just trying to build rapport, trying to help my friend out or whatever. And I said, hey, you guys must be some real Auburn fans. And it was like, you know, you heard music in the background and kids playing and wife was in the kitchen cooking, whatever. It was like everything went dead silent. You could hear a pin drop, and the owner, the man of the house, he stood up. So I was like, you know, human nature, you're going to back up. Hold on, what's going to happen? You know, something ain't right about this situation. And the guy was like, what'd you say? And I was like, no disrespect. I apologize, sir, if I offended anyone. You know, first and foremost, I said, I saw the Auburn, you know, gear and paraphernalia over your fireplace on your mantle. So I posed the question to him, are you guys Auburn fans? He's like, no, this is what we do. We roll tide around here. We take this from Auburn. I was like, you know what? I apologize. And he was so serious. They actually got this stuff from an Iron Bowl game that they took it from some fan. Now, I didn't know it was that deep. And like Mac, you brought out a point earlier, how sometimes that you see, I've seen these tags in the state of Alabama since I've been here, where it has the Auburn and the Alabama and then the jagged line, and it says house divided. I didn't think it was that deep. I said, okay, that's just a cute little tag that a person will buy and put on their vehicle. But as I start meeting people and going to their homes, it's really that deep, where a husband and wife or family, kids, whatever the case may be, for, like you said, that one game every year, the house is completely divided. I like I said, me not being from the state, I was unaware. And it seemed like, and y'all guys correct me if I'm wrong, it seemed like this is instilled in families or children at birth. It's like, I don't know if your parents say, okay, if your household is strictly Alabama, or if your household is strictly Auburn, or if it's a situation where it's divided, to where, and then you hear of certain stories how some families send their kids to Auburn because they want to major in this. They have the best law schools. Let's just use that for an example. Or they have some of the best engineering classes and things of that nature. Then you have University of Alabama in Tuscaloosa, where they might have the best nursing schools and things of that. I mean, for me personally, if you guys have personal stories that you would like to share as far as your upbringing, or what made you really decide, besides what you just expounded on, because like I said, me personally, I didn't know it was that deep.
Well, I don't believe it's that deep with everybody. A lot of people, they still love to have fun with the rivalry, because I know a lot of Alabama fans, and we have so much fun with it. Now, the people that you discussing are what I like to call the diehard of the diehard is Alabama fans. And I come to the conclusion that it is just a game. It's a meaningful game now, don't get me wrong. Everybody has their levels of passion for their team, and I think that what gets the best of people all the time. But I know a lot of Alabama fans that's good people, and they just cheer for their fans. But for that one Saturday, don't call me, don't talk to me until the game is over, and then we can talk our trash, leading up to the game and after the game for the bragging rights.
Go ahead. You look like you guys ready to say something. Go ahead.
No, I'm good. It's correct. I mean, you got your diehard fans. You got some fans who really don't care. You got fans who, they're 50-50. I mean, people out there, they are into it. As growing up, I know people who won't go out with someone because they're an Alabama fan or an Auburn fan, or they root either way, So, but this Saturday is going to be, incredible, because, there's a lot of things on the line. SEC championship, national championship, bragging rights for the year. So, a lot of people, I mean, you got some people out there you don't want to be around, because they will fight. They will fight for their team colors.
Go ahead, Matt.
And it's oddly enough, I grew up in the house. My dad is an Alabama fan.
Right.
He's a diehard fan. Like, if you see him 5 days out of 7-day week, 5.5 of those days he's gonna have on something with Alabama on,
right,
a hat, shirt, something. And it's like a house divided. So it was fun coming up with a dad that was an Alabama fan. So those years when Auburn would beat Alabama, you can't talk trash to your dad.
Right.
But after the game's over with, you can kind of just get up and go to the kitchen and get you some cookies or something and be like,
right,
we won. But and a lot of people always wonder how I grew up, and became an Auburn fan, and my dad was so diehard Alabama fan. But like I said, when my cousin went down there and I saw Bo Jackson and the way he dominated the game of football, it was just like, man. And see, and I wasn't just a bandwagon jumper. It was like, okay, when he left, I was like, I'm gonna stop being I can tell you history, like Tommy Agee, Reggie Schlack, Pat Washington, Tracy Rocker. Come on up. Then you got Frank Sanders, Thomas Bailey, Jason Miska. It goes on and on. I'm passionate about Auburn, but I'm not one of those ones where I'm gonna lose friendship with Reggie because he's an Alabama fan or because they beat us. It's not that deep to me. And anybody that does it, I think that they're crazy.
Right.
You know, now it's a rivalry.
Right.
It's a rivalry. Don't get me wrong, but